Hello, everyone, and welcome to something absolutely brand new here on the Degenerate Race League. It's the Formula Season 1 series. We've got the Indy Next machines that'll be doing battle on some of the most iconic tracks in the world. My name is James Newton. I'll be bringing you all the action for the entire season, finishing off in mid-September. As we were having a look here at the current, not necessarily the standings, but all of the drivers that will be taking part in this 22 car grid in the style of current Formula One, including liveries, teams, and all of the fantastic tracks we'll be visiting throughout the course of the season. Let's actually have a look here at the schedule. First up this evening is going to be the Red Bull Ring, heading out to Styria in the Styrian Hills, heading over to Austin, Texas for the Circuit of the Americas. Next time out, they were hitting Interlagos, heading down south, back over to Europe for Spa, the roller coaster in the Ardennes Forest, followed by the flatness of the Hockenheim Arena, heading out to the Temple of Speed, Monza, followed by the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari, also known as Imola, which I butchered there, and the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada to finish things out on the 18th of September. And as I say that, drivers are hitting the track, so we'll head on down to the Red Bull Ring. 10 corners, a little over 2.5 miles. And you can see the elevation in the background, but the elevation the drivers are going to be facing is going to be just as steep. We have a look at couple of different parts of this circuit. Again, only 10 corners, but some fantastic opportunities for overtaking. Checking in, quite chilly. It's only 8 o'clock in the morning over in the Styrian Hills. Not looking like we're going to see any rain as the drivers there getting all over the second to last corner. We're going to see some serious battling throughout this qualifying session and the feature, which will be just over 30 laps. So again, only 70 degrees out on track, so nothing doing in terms of too much heat for the drivers to deal with. Speaking of drivers, we'll have a look here at some information. Again, only about 11 minutes left in the first qualifying of the session, or of the season, I should say. And looking forward to seeing how these drivers get on. Again, drivers making their way on to the circuit. Currently holding pole position with a 1:20.110 is Morgan Dino in the 4. Right on board with the Atlassian Williams driver, coming out of one of the better overtaking opportunities, heading down what Formula One would use as the DRS straight, and another really good overtaking opportunity down into 4. Drivers will be going side by side on the exit. They'll be going side by side into 5. This is going to be a very, very cool place to watch all of the action unfold here on the DRL. So you're under 10 minutes to go in qualifying. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers attack this course, having a look at practice and some of the drivers trying to find the limits, as it were. Again, this machine, not one of the most popular when it comes to world racing. Of course, these machines, these Dallara IL 1500s, used in the Indy Light, as there you go, Ryan Barkins up to the top. A 1:19.9, so the first 1:19 of the session. And a handful of drivers, only about 0.6 down to Juan Cruz in 5th. So, and as I say that, Andrew Jackson straight up to the top. Mercedes driver in the 97, ballooning that to almost 0.9 of a second back to Juan Cruz. He's going to get out of the way for the other drivers to make their way through. And again, lots of learnings. Driver's trying to still get to grips with this car. Fantastic car. 1,400 pounds, about 450 horsepower. So quite a handful, and not the largest contact patches. You can see just how much larger the rears are than the fronts, and most notably, even more than their size, the rears really have a very rounded sidewall, whereas the fronts are almost, you could almost call them square, where there's a very sharp edge. I almost think of like skateboard wheels, where you've got those kind of downhill longboards that have very, very sharp edges for absolute grip and no slip at all. So the fronts are very, very tuned in, and the rears are a little more slidey, giving the driver a bit more control with their right foot as Andrew Jackson goes even quicker. And we have somebody backwards. One of the McLarens. Andrew Jackson across the line, still holding on to that 119. It was Juan Cruz in the 444. Facing the wrong way at the final corner. 7 and a bit minutes to go here in the qualifying session. This thing's going to fly by. Not the feature, but this qualifying session, you really have to get out there and get your laps in. And obviously, not the longest track. About a mile or so shorter than a majority of those grade 1 F1 circuits. But this really is going to be quite a test of skill for the drivers out there. Fantastic looking liveries here as well. I'm looking at Ryan Barkins in the Audi. Quite a bright looking machine, especially with that front wing. Got a lot of paint on that front wing. And the Mercedes AMG Petronas F1 driver of Gavin Cook in the 69. Silas Jansen in the 37 there. Again, drivers just trying to find their way around. On board here with Ryan Barkins. Currently in second position, trying to find a bit more time. See all the dust and debris that's been brought onto the circuit as, again, we try to fling it through 5, trying to be patient on the gas, use all the rumble strip, go even further out to the right. There's tons of stuff. Look at all the marbles. Not even marbles, it's just a whole bunch of gravel being dragged onto the circuit. That is not going to help improvements. It's still 2.5 seconds to the way of Andrew Jackson in the 97. And Ryan Barkins looking for an answer. Nice early apex. And trying to use all of the track. And across the line, any improvement for Barkins? Nothing doing this time around. Go for a full lap here. Into the first corner. Trying to stay off of the rumble strip on the way in. Trying to stay off of the rumble strip on the way out. Turn 2, basically a nothing corner in these Formula cars as we head up the hill all the time. Actually losing a little bit of speed. Where do we brake? About the 90 meters board or so. Going to chuck it in a little bit wide on that entry and a bit of rear lateral acceleration. 5 minutes to go in the session. A little bit of a breather heading down the hill. Again, going to see tons of side-by-side action. A really good overtaking opportunity. Again, about 100 meters or so. Good rotation on the rear. A little bit squirrely. And we get a really good drive out. And now we just dive off of the circuit. So it looks like Ryan Barkins uninterested in continuing that run. Pick up Nathaniel Acker in the 314. Toyota Gazoo Racing Haas machine. The American team powered by Toyota. Frederick Goupel up into 5th in the 99. The Alpine running quite strong. Is now able to take the tow back to pit lane. Looking for drivers who have not set a representative time. Looks like everybody's coming through. And again, we have 18 drivers on the circuit. Oh, as we pick up a spin there, that's Tony McAnally. The 27 looks like they may not be going anywhere. no good for them. They'll try to get out of the way there. So again, it's still Andrew Jackson who's currently in the pits. Ryan Barkin's still out there looking for some time. Ross Twedwell on quite a good lap here in that fantastic Suzuka liveried Red Bull machine. Routed on board again, heading down to turn 4. Braking a little bit earlier there than we saw Barkins earlier on, but a nice smooth entry, relatively smooth exit, getting over to the right-hand side. A lot less marbles, or debris is probably the more proper way to say that. Again, looking for a wide entry, being patient on the throttle, a very wide corner, almost off camber. And then using all the curb on the inside, a little bit off there, right side. Trying to use that as well. Morgan Dino in the 4 up to 3rd position. Williams driver clawing back a bit of performance. 2 and a bit minutes left. This is coming down to the wire for this qualifying session if you want to put in a lap. That is going to move you up. And oh, a big moment there, Ross Twedwell. 54, any kind of improvement. Looks like they lost it all on that last sector, so it's so important to put together a decent time. Pick up the McLaren of Juan Cruz. And again, drivers will get to know each other a little bit more as they, well, obviously, as they do some battling, some side-by-side action, but they'll also get to know each other through just who has the pace. As it looks like we have somebody going off there. Couldn't quite tell who that was. It's Harsh Singh, who had a black flag. Oh, and a bit of a spin there for one of the Aston Martins coming out of the pits. We have Ryan Barkins, who is up by 2 seconds on this lap. And now Ryan Barkins up into, apologies, 2/10 up on that lap, not 2 seconds. Artur Hermanis also running quite quickly in the 44. With a helmet that may be the Renault helmet of Daniel Ricciardo. Can't quite tell, but it looks like it's got that splotchy, random style nature on the helmet. Currently up about a second on their best time is Hermanis. Again, trying to go sub 1 second to Andrew Jackson if possible. And again, Ryan Barkins down to 1/10. That is very close at the top. Half a second puts you back to 4th, and 1 second puts you back to, again, 9th, which is where Hermanis is out of the final corner. What does the Aramco Aston Martin have up their sleeve? Does not look like there is an improvement. They'll still get one more lap, though. Oh, as they hop over the curbing, that may be it for the 44, and it looks like it is. Morgan Dino coming across the line as well. Ryan Barkins also coming through about half a second up. Will still get another lap. See how the 72 is able to tackle this run here. Oh, and that is the 444 all in the way. Juan Cruz and a spin for the 72. That may be it. Trying to see if anybody else is running fast laps at the moment. Does not look like it. So I believe that will be it for qualifying. It's Andrew B. Jackson on pole. Final results for qualifying. Andrew Jackson on pole by 1/10 of a second over Ryan Barkins. Morgan Dino, Gavin Cook on the second row. Third row will be Frederick Goupel. Juan Cruz alongside in the McLaren. The Racing Bulls effort of Ross Twedwell in 7th. 8th will be Silas Jenninson. in the McLaren. Artur Hermanis for the Aston Martin team will be in 9th, and 10th will be Nathaniel Acker in the Haas. 11th is Russell Stanford in the Aston Martin. Jim Kelly in the Cadillac in the 42, bringing home 12th. Jeremy Spencer Dunn in the Red Bull be 13th. 14th is Kurt Hubert. Mike Brown in the Ferrari, teammates alongside each other, 14th, 15th. 16th is Harsh Singh for the other Racing Bulls. And then we've got Sam Zawisa and Tony McAnally in the Audi, bringing up the rear. Well, let's say we'll go ahead and take a quick break. Back in just a moment. And we will be getting the feature underway in just a bit. Welcome back to the DRL. We're getting ready to get started for this feature race. We're getting the drivers all gridded up. We head down into turn 2. It's Andrew Jackson leading the way. Ryan Barkins holding tough in second. Morgan Dino around the outside. They're constantly swapping positions here down the back straightaway. And now down the inside there, Ryan Barkins side by side with the number 4. Jackson still leading the way. And second position is up for grabs. Gavin Cook trying to have a look at the back of these two if possible. And Dino has gotten that taken care of. Further back, meanwhile, Ross Twedwell trying to defend from the McLaren of Cruz, trying to get up to the back of the BWT of Goupil. Oh, and a big right lockup in one of the fastest corners. Gets over the rumble strips. Is going to compromise Juan Cruz's run, but it doesn't matter. And the McLaren driver is through. Meanwhile, Ryan Barkins trying to have a look down the inside into turn 1. Not a normal overtaking opportunity. Going to try to have a look at the back of Morgan Dino. Going to get the toe all the way up this straightaway. Having a good look into 3. Which way do they try to choose? It looks like Dino's able to get away. And still they battle. Jackson and Morgandino. Oh, and there we go. Mercedes-Benz having issues out of turn 4 into 5, and it looks like a battle for the lead is still on. No, not quite. Andrew Jackson hanging in there. It's Jackson, then Dino, then Barkins, then Cook, then Goupel, then Twedwell, Cruz, Acker, Stanford, Jansen, the top 10. Then it's Brown, McAnally, Dunn, Huber, Hermanis, Jim Kelly, and Harsh Singh in 17th. We've already lost one of our competitors. That is Sam Zawizazi, currently black flagged, so unable to make it past lap 1, unfortunately. The gaps up front, still everybody within about half a second of each other, not able to break away. And again, trying to have a look. Things kind of cooling off at the moment. Still Jackson out front. Morgandino able to get around Barkins, who's now coming under fire from Gav Cook. We have Morgandino now back in 9th position. Having issues there. Russell Stanford trying to get away from them. We have the toughest knot here at the moment of this 32-lapper. Jackson out in the lead, 1.5 seconds. Then it's Gavin Cook. Trying to have a look at the back of Ryan Barkins. Morgandino getting very, very close to an overtake here on Nathaniel Acker. And down the inside into 5, enjoying that move. And the Atlassian Williams driver is up into 7th position. '52 of Sam Zawisa still in the pits. Currently working lap 5 here in Spielberg in Austria. Again, I'm James Newton in the booth here, calling the Degenerate Race League. The Formula Season 1. Again, something new for the DRL this season. This year, I should say. Andrew Jackson out in front. Ryan Barkins closing to 0.4 of a second. and has plenty of time to have a look. Andrew Jackson not using any of the push to pass that's available. Meanwhile, on the button is Ryan Barkins, and it's not going to come to fruition as the two Mercedes drivers, Jackson and Cook, looking quite strong up at the front. And still nothing doing into turn 4 as Jackson trying to fight off Barkins, who is on the way. Jackson using a little bit of the push to pass. Drivers having 65 seconds, which can go very quickly in a 32 lapper. Again, Jackson able to hold off, but again, we're going to head down to turn 3. And it's still only half a second in it for the lead. One of the closest battles on track at the moment. Juan Cruz also getting quite close to Morgan Dino. And down the inside goes the 444. They're going to get that stopped. Looks like they are. Dino going to try to come back around the outside. There's always a good chance around the outside into turn 4. And gets it done, slices across, takes the inside. The McLaren going to try to do the outside, which is what I expected Dino to do. A little bit of marbles, and the Williams is still good to go for that 6th position. Juan Cruz going to continue to try and fight this one out. Still half a second, your leaders separated by. Meanwhile, Silas Jansen trying to have a look at the back of Nathaniel Acker. Haas driver in a big spot of bother here, trying to go around the inside into the second to last corner. A very quick right-hander, and nothing doing there for the time being. And Jansen is not out of the woods either, because Tony McAnally in the 27, that Audi getting quite close as well. But this is a really good look now for Silas Jansen. That McLaren is and almost a bit of front wing contact into the right rear of the Haas. Gets down the inside. Can they get that stopped? Left plenty of margin on the outside rather. And no response from the Haas, and Jansen is through on Acker. Meanwhile, a couple of drivers trying to use their push to pass as much as they can. Frederick Goupel's been on the push to pass about as much as anybody. Alpine driver trying to get up to the top 3, only about a second off of the back of Gavin Cook. Now the battle for the lead is hotting up here as well. Barkin's trying to have a look at the back of Jackson. And this is getting quite close. Barkin's trying to have a look. What does Jackson do? Majority of the time is usually a slam dunk into 4, which is maybe what they're waiting on. Maybe they have a little bit more pace, but they're just going to try to nail it down this back stretch. 72 is not able to get alongside. 97 down into 4. Audi still stays behind. Barkins and Jackson still fight. And they have 3.5 seconds back to this pairing, which is now a pairing of Cook and Goupel. And that Alpine's caught the Mercedes at a pretty good rate. Looks like the tightest battle that we have, heading back down to turn 3 once again. Barkins on Jackson. Right on board with the Audi driver, trying to take the first win of the Formula season number 1. And again, at the moment, it's all to play for. Jackson a little bit wide, but still quite a good exit. Not taking nearly as much curb, but very smooth. Barkins really having to kind of work the wheel. It's a little less comfortable at this stage, but it's still very, very quick. And again, only a quarter of a second in it. And again, they've cleared out from Gavin Cook. Oh, and a bit of a mistake there. Jackson trying to have a look. Barkins maybe getting a better run. They fight their way up the hill. A little bit of movement. Jackson looking like they're trying to hang on. Any kind of cutback for the Mercedes driver. Nothing doing. Now Jackson on their push to pass. Both drivers are almost halfway through, and they're going to use that push to pass down the inside. The 72 makes it very, very difficult. The 97 makes it just about as tricky. Dirty right side tires for the 72. And the Audi now trying to have a look into 5. And Jackson gets it back with the push to pass, but they may be vulnerable. 11 seconds less. But what a fantastic duel. And now down the inside of the second to last corner. No way that's going to be working. Unless Jackson lets you on through, and I don't believe that they have that on their bingo card. And these two kind of running away with it, still battling, but they have tons and tons of time in hand. So, barring any kind of crazy coming together, these two may be fighting out for the overall win no matter what. Around the outside, Ryan Barkin's going to try see if there's any kind of a cutback. 97 tries to scamper out of it. Jackson on the push to pass a little bit defensively, just trying to get that little bit of boost. Jackson is quite vulnerable. Let's see if there's any kind of a dive. There is. The 72 heads down the inside. Barkins, no chance. And now here, traction race. Trying to get to the outside if they can and squeeze their opponent down low. And again, they do get out. Meanwhile, as this battle is progressing, still have Frederick Goebel trying to have a look at the back of Gav Cook. Gav Cook has not used 1 iota of their push to pass. So Gavin Cook, I don't know if he has 5 seconds worth of push to pass in there. Now down to 3.9. Frederick Goupel now less than half, trying to chase down the other Mercedes. Both Mercedes drivers are looking very strong for a double podium here, first time out. Now the battle for the lead is side by side. Barkins on the inside. Does the Mercedes have anything for them? We've seen this move. Oh my goodness. Almost a switchback in the braking zone. They are nose to tail, nothing separating them. And it's Barkins who hits the front. Jackson will be on that push to pass, I assume. And Barkins currently has the lead. Jackson obviously wants that back. Both drivers running with about 0.2 of a second apart in terms of overall best lap time. And again, 1 point for fastest lap of the race is currently being held, I believe, by Ryan Barkins. And now Barkins really stretching that advantage as well. So Both drivers kind of on equal footing, but it looks like Ryan Barkins may have the better of Jackson at this point and may begin to run away. Yeah, it's already up to 0.8 of a second. Meanwhile, a little further back here, this is Jim Kelly in the Cadillac. Haven't talked too much about the Cadillac so far. Looking at the back of the Ferrari of Mike Brown. Oh, as they run through all of that dirt, you can see it getting all picked up. Hopefully it clears off and it doesn't cool the tires off by the time they get to first corner. Oh, and a big spin there. Mike Brown. Enormous mistake there on one of the fastest parts of the circuit. Looks like they've got that going again. Good to see that. Again, third place still up for grabs. Goupel trying to have a look at the back of Gav Cook. Ross Twedwell still getting involved here. Leaders still separated by about 0.8 of a second. Goupel trying to line one up on Cook. We'll see the slipstream effect in full swing. Gaining all the time in the air, being moved out of the way by the Mercedes driver. Again, Gav Cook only using a little, almost 1/10 of their push to pass. Goupel only has 18 seconds left, so it is not looking like the other driver will be too worried at the moment. Still really good pace in the Alpine. Coming up to the halfway point of this race. And the battle for the lead seems to be dying down for the moment. Again, Barkins really pushing it. About 1.5 seconds back to Jackson, who put up a really good fight. We're seeing, I think, potentially a little bit of lapped traffic coming through. Again, not the longest circuit. Getting about 2.68 miles. And one of the best for overtaking. It really is a place where you can follow so closely all the way from the final corner all the way down to turn 5. This sweeper through here. And then it's kind of line astern for Sector 3, as again, the car's having to deal with so much extra dust and dirt on their tires, and this is really going to help out, or going to hurt Gavin Cook, help Goupel if they can get a good clear on this Audi. They'll get a bit of a tow through here, but you don't want them on the outside or the inside going through these corners, so it is going to put the Alpine off. They're going to have to take one more corner behind the back marker. And Goupel will not be pleased about that. Russell Stanford closing in on Juan Cruz. Nathaniel Acker closing in on Silas Jansen. And still, oh, and in contact. An accident. Goupel goes around. Wow. So we're on board here, and there's a little bit of a twitch. We're trying to open up the steering, and we both end up basically stationary in turn 3. So Goopel back to it. But now the gap is ballooned to 5.5 seconds. And this is Morgan Dino on the scene, going to try and have a look at the back of 4th place. So going from a podium look to potentially getting overtaken by the Williams coming up. First has to clear the back marker if they can. Oh, as Goopel now heads, I believe, down to pit lane. So there may be even more problems than we were thinking. And down for service. Andrew Jackson, meanwhile, making their way back up towards Barkins for the lead of the race. So Goop will be the first car out of pit lane, taking service that hasn't had any issues at the beginning of the race. Obviously having an issue just now. Barkins currently in the lead, relatively comfortably at the moment. Again, holding that line back to Andrew Jackson. In second, Gav Cook kind of in no man's land, currently running a very, very strong third. So it's Barkins, then Jackson, then Cook, then Dino, then Twedwell, then Cruz, then Stanford, Acker, Goopel, and Jim Kelly. Your top 10 as we have a look here at Jim Kelly. As we have more pit stops on the way. Nobody else coming through this time by. Picking up Gav Cook again, trying to see if they can close that gap to the top 2. And now with fresh tires, Goopel, who's still going through all of that dirt and debris, trying to have a look at the back of Nathaniel Acker. Just inside the top 10. A little bit squirrely there on that new rubber. And now has plenty of free space to go and try and attack Russell Stanford if they can get there. Quite a ways back, but Russell not into the pits just yet. Drivers relatively spread out at this point of the race. Only 19 laps in of 32. Everybody hanging out with us, thank you so much for joining us here at the Degenerate Race League. Again, I'm James Newton here, calling the action from Spielberg in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, round 1 of 8 rounds that we'll be having for this Formula Season 1. Pretty good battle here. Looking at Jim Kelly, Kurt Huber. Trying to have a look at, Kelly trying to have a look at Dunn, who's now coming into the pit lane. As Nathaniel Acker, black flag. Not sure what's going on there. So we've just come straight into the pits. I assume it will be cleared, but couldn't quite tell. Maybe there was some issue with going over the line, and now they've been able to exit the pits, able to stay to the right side of that line. So no issue. Oh, it must have been a drive-through potentially for Nathaniel Acker. Jackson still out in front. So it's a Mercedes 1-2 here at Spielberg. Jackson and Cook quite commanding at the moment. Morgandino closing up to the back of the driver who was in 4th place for the longest time. Under 1.5 seconds, and it looks like Morgandino may be having a look at the back of the 6th place driver in just a bit. Still so much debris on track, and obviously drivers having to run through it on the racing line, but if they're able to, try not to hit that mountain of mess. And again, right through there's so many different moments where you have to kind of pile through it. Ryan Barkin's able to get Gav Cook, it looked like. Oh, and Gav Cook fell. Oh, apologies. Gav Cook in the pit lane. That's why there's some swapping up at the top. So that is Barkins about a pit stops with back. So Ryan Barkins currently has their teammate up in front of them, a lap down. Andrew Jackson's going to have to come in and get these 23 lap old tires off and get back out there within 25 seconds. And that gap's closing as well, as Barkins is on the fresh tires. Jackson just trying to stay out there, build the offset, potentially having some better tires. Jackson still going around. So this is going to be interesting if Jackson has anything to say after the pit stop to Barkins. Russell Stanford here in the Aston Martin. Trying to catch up to the back of Juan Cruz. Morgandino half a second back from Goupil. This battle's been brewing for a while. Now the 4 with all sorts of oversteer coming out of 1. We blast our way up toward turn 3. I don't think we're going to be close enough unless we're going to have a bonsai move. These Formula cars do not weigh a lot, so it takes so long. Apologies, it does not take very long for them to get down through the gears. Having a look there. Goupil with 0 push to pass. Russell Stanford in the same boat. Morgan with about half of their, almost exactly half, 27 seconds of push to pass. Oh, and almost into the back of the Alpine. As Andrew Jackson now does come into the pit lane. Andrew Jackson in the pits, getting service, and will be heading back out onto the track shortly. Meanwhile, Morgandino now down the inside. The Goop will have a response. They may be dragged along by the toe, but the 4 really working well and has got the clear. Meanwhile, Nathaniel Acker in the Haas. Trying to have a look at the back of Jim Kelly. 6/10 in this one. Andrew Jackson makes their stop, comes back out, and is out 2.5 seconds behind, right there, the race leader, Ryan Barkins. So it's Barkins and Jackson, as they were before the pit stops. Juan Cruz up into 3rd position at the moment. Yet to make their stop. Russell Stanford also yet to make their stop. Gav Cook down the inside, lights them up, but they have plenty of tire life left. Russell Stanford, 25 lap old tires and 0 push to pass. And oh, there's all sorts of pandemonium here. Juan Cruz, Gav Cook, and Russell Stanford all connected. And now Gav Cook going to try to get around the outside of Cruz. Oh, this is a terrifying move here. The 69 is going to back out of it, think better of it. Potentially wait till the first corner if they've got a good exit. Which it looks like they've got the grip hooked up. Russell Stanford enjoying this battle, trying to have a look at a potential podium position before they have to come in. And obviously Gav Cook on 3 lap old tires, the other 2 on 26 lappers. And Gav Cook's having to use up some of their push to pass to get this done. This race winding down. Barkins out front, then it's Jackson. And meanwhile, here comes Gav Cook down the inside. Any kind of response. Very late on the brakes for the McLaren, apologies, and gets it done. Right front lockup for the 444. Juan Cruz not able to hold on and may fall into the clutches of Russell Stanford. The Aston Martin is on the way. Morgandino joining this fight. These 4 separated by about 2 seconds or so. So Gav Cook seems like they have plenty of extra speed. Now up to only a handful of laps to go. Now Goupil able to get around Juan Cruz, who's now come down the pit lane. Meanwhile, Morgandino trying to work on Russell Stanford. And around the outside, tons of braking potential there for the Ford. No lockups at all. And up into 5th position. Fantastic moves by the 4. After having that issue earlier on. Silas Jansen able to get around Mike Brown, it looks like. Half a second in it for that battle. It's Barkins, Jackson, Cook, Dino Stanford, Goupil, Tweddle, and then Cruz, Jansen, and Mike Brown. Currently in 10th. Haven't seen too much of the Ferraris. Jim Kelly currently running in 11th position with Nathaniel Ackerman keeping them company. That's only 0.7 of a second between that pairing. Daniel Acker trying to have a good look. And it's Arthur Hermanis, Tony McAnally, Kurt Huber, Jeremy Spencer Dunn in the Red Bull. And then we also have Sam Zawasa, currently running in 17th, the last of the runners. Daniel Acker looking menacing in the mirrors. And again, there's still junk on the track. Starting to clear a little bit. Coming up to about 6 laps to go here in Spielberg. Oh, and now just toying with him. Ackerman trying to get Kelly in the mirrors. And that gap is back up to 7/10, but it will most likely drop. Oh, is Jim Kelly using up the final bit of push to pass? So Kelly really trying to stretch it. And the right front's getting locked up. That may be all she wrote for Jim Kelly, depending on what they can do with that last 3 seconds. Half a second in it. Now we're seeing Goupil and Stanford. This is a really close fight here. Down the inside for the 99. Nothing doing. Is the Aston Martin going to get it stopped? Stanford able to get on the brakes. And what a maneuver by the Aston Martin driver. Still holding tough in 5th at the moment. And it looks like Stanford's going to be able to live to fight another day. Both drivers are completely out of push to pass, so it's going to be down to the wheel. As meanwhile, we're going to have a look here as Barkins currently lapping 12th position. Acker trying to have a look at the back of Kelly. Kelly, no more push to pass. Well, only 3 seconds left. They may be using it this time by trying to run away. Not really under pressure from Acker. Kelly able to get out of the way, but that's going to cost them valuable time as Acker again closing in on the Cadillac. Haas may have a pretty good look into 4. Nothing doing, but very, very close. This is not good news for Jim Kelly. Meanwhile, Frederick Goupil able to get around for... Oh, that's why. Wow, wow, wow. A spin there for the 20. Stanford falling back there. Kind of no man's land again in front of Juan Cruz. We still have Nathaniel Acker and Jim Kelly trying to fight for this. As Jackson now 1 second behind with all of this extra fighting. Jackson is 1.4 seconds. So the battle for the podium position is not done. Morgan Dino 7/10 of a second and closing on Gav Cook. That's getting quite close. And Jackson now relatively on the tail of Barkins. It's well under 2 seconds. All happening here with only 2 laps to go. Riding on board with Morgan Dino. The gap at the front is 1.0 seconds. Morgan Dino having a look at 7/10 to Gav Cook. One Mercedes in Jackson is fighting for the lead. Gav Cook trying to hang on as a big moment there. All the way off there for Morgandino. Meanwhile, somebody backward. Is that Russell Stanford again? It was not. Trying to see who that was backward in the gravel as we are on to the final lap of the race. Ryan Barkins 1 second ahead of Jackson. Barkins has 18 seconds of push to pass in the pocket. And the Audi driver has been having to go out and get it. Jackson was not an easy person to do battle with. But it looks like Barkins is going to be able to bring this one home potentially. Morgandino now 1.5 seconds back and falling off of Gav Cook. Looks like out of the second to last corner, Ryan Barkin's going to be bringing it home for Audi by only 0.6 of a second and across the line. Ryan Barkins, your winner for round 1 of the Formula Season 1 Championship on Degenerate Race League. Quite a close battle. Both of these drivers really getting on each other's nerves in different ways as we still have battling throughout the field. We're looking at Nathaniel Acker 0.3 of a second back. Russell Stanford still trying to see if they can do anything for Silas Jansen, falling to about a second back. Andrew Jackson coming home second. Gav Cook making it a 2 and 3 double podium for Mercedes. Morgandino missing out by 1.5 seconds on the podium. Very close after a tricky time a little earlier on. Ryan Barkins burning it out on that side straight. Oh, and a big moment there. The rear of Barkins getting completely demolished. So after 32 laps of racing, it's Ryan Barkins in the 72, bringing it home 0.5 second ahead of Andrew Jackson. Gavin Cook in third position, a Mercedes 2 and 3, pretty ominous for the start of the season. Morgandino missing out by only about 1.5 seconds on the podium, comes home fourth for Williams. The Alpine of Frederick Goupel had an up and down day. The Alpine looked strong but finished fifth. Ross Tweddle in the Racing Bulls. Juan Cruz in seventh for McLaren. The McLaren's line astern there. Silas Jansen bringing it home in 8th position. 9th is Russell Stanford in the Aston Martin, and Mike Brown in the Ferrari rounds out your top 10. Then it's Jim Kelly, Nathaniel Acker for the Haas, Hermanus in the Aston Martin, Tom McAnally in the Audi, Kurt Huber in the Ferrari, Jeremy Spencer Dunn brings it home 16th, Sam Zawisi bringing it home, and Harsh Singh not being able to finishing 15 laps down. Well, that racing just flew by there, and we'll wait as the 3 podium drivers will make their way to the green room. Going to get their cars all parked up, but definitely saw some serious racing. Saw a handful of drivers really going toe-to-toe, and specifically that battle between Barkins and Jackson. Jackson really having to get on that push to pass to try and secure positioning. And quite the show it was. Always tricky when you are running out of push to pass. Again, the elevation change and all of the different overtaking opportunities really lent to all the action that we just saw from the drivers. Red Bull Ring hosting an enormous amount of racing throughout the season. Famous for DTM racing as well. Also some fantastic Formula One moments. Some fantastic, Lando Norris's first podium was here at Austria. We saw Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, as well as Lando Norris and his teammate last year in Formula One, in Oscar Piastri, dicing it up. And it is quite a historic venue to be sure. Well, we'll go ahead and take a quick break here. We'll be back with driver interviews in just a moment. Welcome back to the DRL. The first round of the season was just completed, and we have a winner, Ryan Barkins, who has joined us in the broadcast booth. Ryan, it's James up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it looked like you had 18 seconds of push to pass in your pocket, and you still crossed the line first after having to take one of the Mercedes to school when it came to overtaking. It looked like a pretty tricky time out there, but once you were able to get clear, it looks like you really had this in hand. How was the race from your perspective?
It was good. I was just saving my push to pass in case Andy got some pace to catch up with me. Um, but yeah, it was clean. I'm not a formula guy really. I do sports car, so this is, a little different to me. So I was telling the guys, I was like, yeah, the first whole lap or the first like 5 laps, I was just mouth breathing because I was so concentrated, trying not to kill anybody. But yeah, it was good. It's a good race.
When it came to the strategy, were you just kind of running as you said, you are a self-proclaimed not a formula guy? I think that we would all disagree now that you just took the big trophy home, but I think that definitely it looked like basically when it came to the strategy, was there any kind of trying to work out plan A, B, or C, or was it just kind of run the laps I needed to, come into the pits whenever, and kind of to stay out there? You also spoke about the push to pass and trying not to use that too much. Was that kind of playing in your mind, or was it just trying to go as quick as possible?
Yeah, so I had a plan A. I had no B or C. My strategy was to basically do um like a half race distance with fuel, just a little bit longer just for some margin, and then take tires at the pit because through some testing, we figured out that the tires you can take them and they'll finish before the fuel finishes. So it basically just gives you an advantage. Um, and my whole goal was to kind of do half and half, so that way I don't run too much of my tires down on the first stint, and then have tires left on the second stint. I wanted to use both of them equally, so that's why I put it a little bit earlier um, than the rest of the guys because I put less fuel in, and then was able to take tires and then kind of equally manage my tires for both stints.
Next time out, we're going to be heading to Austin, Texas for Coda. Are you looking forward to that one?
I got to buy it, so I'm not looking forward to that. But yeah, for sure, dude. This was super fun. It's definitely different from what I normally do. Um, and especially with the whole F1 theme and the constructors going on, it's super exciting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, congratulations again on taking the very first win of Formula Season 1 here on DRL and in commanding fashion as well.
Appreciate it, man.
Ryan Barkins, the winner. And now we will speak with Gav Cook, who brought it home in third. Gav Cook, it's James up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, James.
Teammate finishes second. You brought it home third. It looked like you were having a bit of pressure from Morgan Dino as well right at the end, but you seemed to have that covered off. How was the race from your perspective?
Oh, it was kind of yeah, first Formula race really. Like I've done F4 and stuff, but never the IndyCar. So it was just kind of like all learning the start, how to manage the tires and everything like that. So it was all kind of new. But yeah, like at the start, I was kind of losing time to the top three straight away, and Frederick was on my butt the whole entire time until he got involved with some lap traffic. But yeah, it was pretty fun, and yeah, just holding on at the end with Morgan hunting me down, and yeah, unfortunately I hadn't left any push to pass because I'd used it all up trying to do a fast lap, but halfway through the fast lap, there's a crash in front of me, so I couldn't get the fast lap or anywhere near it.
That does sound like the modern Formula One experience where you have the hybrid system. Obviously, push to pass a little bit different, but you basically wind it all up. You put it all, you put it all on red, and somebody's in front of you there. But again, really commanding drive. It didn't seem too easy out there, even though you were a little bit in no man's land. But you also had to work through some lap traffic as well, trying to stay away, and all those little moments kind of got you just far enough away from Dino. And again, two Mercedes in the top three at the first crack of the bat. How are you feeling about that?
Oh yeah, it's good. When Andy picked me as a teammate, I knew we'd do pretty good. But 2 and 3 is yeah beyond expectations for me because I'm usually around top 10. So yeah, no, I'm happy in these Formula cars. It's a lot of fun.
We are heading to Austin, Texas for Coda next time out. Are you excited for that one?
I never really enjoyed it, but I did a couple of laps in the NXT, and it did seem like fun. So I'm like, okay, so I think I can deal with this. So yeah, I'll definitely be practicing over the week and see how it goes. But yeah, looking forward to it again.
Anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting actually coming back out of the pits. When some of the guys hadn't taken tires, and like yeah, I think both Russell and Juan hadn't taken tires, so they were struggling coming out of the pits. So they were in front of me, but I was able to whip around them pretty quick. So it was pretty fun going around the outside of those guys on when I came out the pits. So yeah, lots of fun.
Well, again, congratulations on the 2 and 3. Congratulations on your P3. And we look forward to seeing you out there in Austin.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, James. I'm look forward to doing the stream, watching the stream now.
Excellent. Well, again, congratulations.
Thanks.
Gav Cook bringing it home P3. Well, that will finish it up here for the DRL for this evening. And we have Circuit of the Americas on the way. Interlagos, round 3, hitting up Spa, Hockenheim in Germany, hitting 2 Italian tracks before heading back over up north to the Great White North for Canada at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Well, again, I've been James Newton. This has been the Degenerate Race League. This is the first, basically, episode, if you will, of Season 1. But don't go anywhere. Next week, same time, same channel, we will be back out, and we will see you there in Austin, Texas.